Well, welcome to all of you, wherever you are, to this stream of mine, which is all about having a better world collectively. Though the title of my stream is paying tribute to one of the greatest generals of the Indian Army, but that is the context. Today, there is a big event in Delhi, and that is to celebrate the 400th birth anniversary of a great Indian general, Army General, Sri Lachit, Bir Lachit Barphukan. But the main purpose of my creating this stream is to share my thoughts, views, and feelings as to how to make this world better, how to make humanitarian causes much more relevant and much more to be discussed in terms of the need of having this world a sustained future, not endangered, not uncertain, not precarious, but a world that goes on for hundreds and hundreds of years without wars and conflicts and butchering millions and millions of people by way of waging wars or getting into conflicts of mass-scale killings and all that. I have been a teacher at the university level. So all through the decades that I have served as a teacher, I have maintained a kind of self-discipline, and I have also tried to live as a good human being. And at the same time, I have instilled lots of confidence in the minds and hearts of my students who have been in thousands over the years, over the decades. And I have always made it a point during my teaching hours that whatever amount of money you earn in your life, whatever position of power you have or you claim to have or you earn through your hard work and all that, the most important thing is that you live like a simple human being. You live like a sane human being, and you make yourself happy first and always try to make other people's life happy as much as possible, because it is not in the hand of a person to make everybody happy. You can contribute to your level best. You live in disciplined way. You live in a morally sound way. You live in a cooperative spirit way. You live as an example to others, even if your being an example to others could be of a small measure. In our own limitations, we can certainly do something to make ourselves presentable to others, or to make at least some people to think of us as positive human beings. And they might then feel that they should also be more positive, or at least as much positive as they have seen in people like you. This stream's main purpose, I repeat again, is to increase awareness, or increase the awareness of the fact that it is very important that justice is done, labor is rewarded. People who work for prestige, dignity, these people should get encouragement from all quarters. And at the center is the government, it's the organization, it's the institution that is the supreme institution inside a country or inside a continent or in any part of the world, that justice must be for everybody. Nobody should suffer. Nobody should be allowed to be the cause or the reason, cause of, or the reason for other people's suffering. And good people are encouraged, they are stimulated through incentives, through recognition, through good words spoken not individually to all the good people, but means an atmosphere has to be created everywhere in the world, in every country of the world, that inspires people to be honest, hardworking, cooperative in spirit, and a good abider by the laws of nature, and a good believer in the spirit of the ancient Sanskrit saying, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means we are a family of 4 or 5. A nation is a family, extended family of crores and crores of people, or millions of people, or whatever may be the population of a particular country. And by extension, the whole human world, the whole earth is ours. And wherever we are, wherever we spend our lifespan or we live and die, we should be loyal to the laws of nature. We shouldn't be loyal to obscurantist sort of principles or theories or ethos. We should be open-minded, and we should think scientifically, and we should behave as if we are good human beings at all levels of life, and not only for a fixed period of time, but from the beginning of sensibility coming into you up to the end of your life, as much as possible, because all people cannot be equally sensible, all people cannot be equally honest, all people cannot be equally hardworking, but all people can be honest to some extent, hardworking to some extent, cooperative to some extent. So the world is open, one has to excel, but one should have the seeds of positivity, that I don't have to be a burden on society, I don't have to be a cause of concern for society, I shouldn't be damaging, I shouldn't be injurious to the health of society, I shouldn't be a criminal, I shouldn't be antisocial. Means again the same thing, that we all can't be sincere equally, we all can't be honest equally, but then there has to be an attitude in everybody that movement has to be forward. There should be progression in life, no regression. Regression means that you are anti-nature. You don't believe in the balance of ecology. You don't believe in the promotion of environmental balance, ecological balance. You don't believe in self-restraint. You believe in living and not letting live. This is spirit that we should live happily as much as we can through our work, through our action, through our behavior, and we should also contribute to whatever extent we can towards other people living comfortably, peacefully, happily. And if you can't contribute to other people's, you can say, attainment of happiness, you just try not to be criminal, not to be criminalized. You just live without causing danger or any sort of injury to the social fabric. Now that the context is today's program in New Delhi, where speakers are coming from different parts of India, even from outside, particularly the government officers, the military officers, and the listed dignitaries. I am not one of the invitees. I don't count myself as one of the dignitaries. I don't have any position of power, but I have been a teacher, and a teacher is supposed to be the universal citizen. Bertrand Russell, in one of his essays, prose pieces, he talks about the functions of a teacher. A teacher is basically a good human being, a humanist. He doesn't work only for the students that he comes in contact with, but he works silently, steadily, indirectly even, to make his ideas and deeds in such a way that some influence comes upon the whole world. you make the people of your locality, of your college, of your university better, and that way you contribute to the betterment of the entire human community. You have never been to America, but your work in China, your work in Pakistan, your work in South Africa, if it is a good work, it is sure to contribute to some extent the American life, because the world is interconnected. The devastations that take place in one part of the world certainly have an impact on the other parts of the world to varying extents, varying degrees. So this is my belief that if all Americans are good, if all Europeans are good, or if most of them are good, they set an example for the people of other countries that they are developed, they live nicely, their life standard is high. It is because of their hardworking nature. It is because of their honesty. It's because of their spirit of cooperativeness. It's because of their objectivity and scientific temperament. So, in this age, in this time when you have electronic gadgets, you have social media, mostly misused and abused, but even then, if the internet facilities are used properly, then these facilities can contribute a lot to the betterment of human life, to the beautification of humanity or this world. So, uh, again, the matter comes to use and misuse. Scientific inventions and discoveries we have seen, and scientists have spoken on this, that discoveries, inventions must be put to good use. If they are put to bad use, or if they are allowed to be abused, then the world happens to have more hurts than any soothing sort of, you can say, feeling. The world benefits from the positive use of discoveries and inventions. The world benefits from the positive researches, the researches that are pro-human, pro-nature, pro-things. All the things in nature, all the creations by nature or by God have to coexist. So the spirit of coexistence, man being the most superior of all the creatures in the world, having mind and heart, having emotion at the heart level, and having intelligence at the mind level. So man, being the manager of this earth, has to share the fruits of man's achievements with non-humans, the animals, and even unmovable or other things, flora and fauna, means everything. William Wordsworth, a great poet from England, said that there is nothing that is inanimate. As scientists have described things as animate or categorize things on the basis of their characteristics. So the broadest classification is animate and non-animate or inanimate. So the cloud, the stone pieces, or things that don't move, or the thorns and all that lie scattered at places, these things are not living things, but well, they are also living because they influence our thinking, they influence our activities, they help us. Take the example of the soil. We say that earth doesn't have living quality, but earth does have, because it produces. It gives us, we sow seeds, and the seeds sprout, and then we have the plants, and the plants grow into higher plants or stronger plants, and then we have food items. So this is what I want to say, that at every level of social life, national life, international life, the good people, the good workers have to be incentivized, they have to be promoted. And those who are bad should be persuaded that they should be good. They should be good as much as they can, and they should try to minimize the badness that they have. The bad habits that we have, we should shed off. And the good habits that we don't have, we should cultivate in ourselves by looking at the people who are better than us. And better than us, not because they look better in terms of dresses and their positions, but they really make us feel that their actions are pro-human, their actions are pro-society, their actions are pro-world. And that way we get inspired. Today's occasion is this so as an invited guest, as a world citizen, I'm a citizen of India, but I consider that I should treat myself or look upon myself as a world citizen, because if the whole world is happy, the whole world is united, and conflicts are the minimum, misunderstandings are the minimum, and accessibility of people from around the world, that is easier, then it's a better world. So I would like to consider myself as an Indian technically because of citizenship, but I always want that I become a world citizen in terms of my contributions to other parts of the world, even when I live locally. I live locally and I work with local people, but I think globally. They say that you can't live globally at the same time, but you can influence the thinking of the world through your writings, through your actions, through your works, whatever level you work at. So first of all, changing the tone and tenor, mainly concerned to morality, honesty, integrity, hard work, cooperation, and all that. I salute this great Army General of India, who had been born 400 years ago, and who is famous as Bir, means the brave. Bir is a Hindi word, and that translates into English as brave. Lachit Barphukan, Lachit, Lachit, and the surname Barphukan, Barphukan. And I have in front of me the last page of the Times of India, and I see this ad with the picture of the Assam Chief Minister, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and the picture of this Army General when he was young, and in action as reflected in the picture. So, first of all, I pay my personal homage to this great son of the world, and by extension, the great son of the world. Because if you are an honest officer of one country, honest army officer of one country, not believing in butchering, not believing in what you call killing without any purpose, or not believing in the wars as a solution to problems. Wars can never be solutions to problems. Wars can only make us ugly. Wars can only reflect our weaknesses, that we don't have patience to wait for the right result. We don't have the sense of working together, and we don't have the spirit of accommodation or accommodability. That is why conflicts occur. But then, during the Mahabharata times also, you know that Krishna was all in favor of truce between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He always persuaded both the sides, both the parties, that come to a compromise, live and let live. And in the last attempt, Krishna even persuaded the Kauravas, who had been in the seat of power, that the impoverished and the unprivileged Pandavas should be allowed to live only in 5 villages. Out of that great kingdom, only 5 villages should be given to the Pandavas, the Pandava brothers, the eldest being Yudhishthira, and then you have Sahadev, Nakul Sahadev, and then between them, Arjuna and him. So that proposal was thwarted, that was not accepted by Kauravas, practically led by Duryodhana, because his father, the reigning king, Dhritarashtra, was blind and he was not functional. Almost all the executive powers actually got exercised or used by his eldest son, Duryodhana, and his wife, Gandhari. It is reported, it is said, it is narrated that she was not blind, but she lived as a blind woman because of certain certain situations in her life. She was good-heartedly, but she could not exercise any control over the administration of the kingdom. The point is that Mahabharata happened, means the killings happened, the war broke out between the two sides. It was because of the refusal of Duryodhana to have even this level of generosity to allow the Pandavas to live in 5 villages anywhere in the kingdom, because he was not in favor of having the truce. He only wanted to eliminate the Pandavas anyhow. And he was arrogant enough, he was proud to have the greatest warrior on his side, and Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya and all that. Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya, they were the greatest of the greats. They knew that Duryodhana was not on the right track, and they also knew that they should not be supporting Duryodhana, but then they had been tied by their own vows, on their promises, certain limitations, and they could not escape the vows. They could not break loose of the ties of the vows that they had imposed upon themselves. And the result was that they stayed in the camps of Duryodhana until the end. And Krishna's plan to have the truce to avoid the war, and he even said that war must be avoided. But if the best effects of avoiding the war don't bring the result, and wars or the war becomes necessary for the establishment of justice, for the establishment of order, for the establishment of nature, natural laws, then that war has to be fought, and fought on the side of the truthfulness. And truth always wins. It is said in Sanskrit, Satyameva Jayate. That means truth wins ultimately. It may be hindered from the view, it may be hindered from getting realized, it may be clouded for some time or for a good deal of time, but ultimately truth comes out, and the world realizes how it has been different from falsehood, and how falsehood remained in the garb of truth, and truth actually was presented as false or as on the wrong side. Having said all these things, I would like now to switch on to the general appeal of mine to the whole world leaders, that nothing, no homage, wordy homage or conference or symposium or seminar, whatever level you do it, these have become platitudes. These have become almost formalities, that you have seminars and symposia, and you have lots of money spent on how to control corruption. Corruption means that, again, dishonest people having an upper hand and honest people suffering. That is corruption. People who are meritorious enough to play football at the national level, they don't get place in their national teams. And those who are not talented, not meritorious, they are selected because they have connections. This is corruption. This is also corruption, that we litter around our habitation, our habitat, all kinds of rubbish things, paper packets or plastic bottles and all that. This is a corruption. Corruption doesn't only mean taking bribe or giving bribe, or having commissions, or giving brokerage. Corruption means corruption takes place even when we think wrongly, or we think of violence, we think of harms to others. So corruption is a very general term, and it covers all kinds of misdeeds or mistakes, misbehavior, misactions, misthinking. Therefore, my heart tells me that I have seen so much of writing in the papers, so much of talks on the TV, so much of speech delivered to the public by the so-called leaders, and all in favor of honesty, justice, hard work, fair play, but the results are almost nil or negligible. We talk a lot, and the results are not encouraging. Take the example of South Asia. You see India, Pakistan, all these countries, and everywhere poverty persists because of corruption. Those who are in the positions of power, they become richer, although they harvest poorly, they die very badly, or they lose the peace of mind. military officers, you are the general, and you acquire wealth that you cannot account for, how so much of wealth came to your possession. You are the prime ministers and you are the presidents, and you see everywhere and these people are charged with corruption, having accumulated wealth at the cost of their society, their nations. And so many examples are there that that somebody who had been a president or the prime minister of a country for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and after the opposition comes to power, and because of opposition's vendetta or whatever, maybe that they really had been corrupt and they are put behind the bars and they live in the prison for life. And this is not a good thing to happen. So leaders around the world, they have to be holistic. They have to think of the world peace. So you praise the general of your country because the general is aggressive and that general has done something that has expanded the territory of your country. No good. A good general is that one who defends the frontiers of his country, which are genuinely established, legally established, and these generals always keep their men in alertness, maximum alertness, vigilance to defend the country. That's a great thing. But within the military organization, suppose if the general accepts the bribe for certain thing, even if he knows that he won't ever come out to have been bribed or to have been corrupt, not good. So if that general is good, who keeps the frontiers of his country safe and who sees to it that corrupt people, even if 2%, 1%, 3% in the army, these corrupt people, they are, you can say what you call, they are pruned, they are paused, and they are discharged if need be. And the honest people, they continue. Because if the army is incorruptible, if the army is honest, you have other departments also. If the government people, the leaders are honest, then the effect of that honesty, that level of honesty, percolates down to the common citizens. 10%, 15% of the common citizens, they are so nice, they are much better than the people in the government or in the offices. Perhaps they have chosen not to have offices, they have chosen not to be prime ministers and presidents, but they are extremely good. They are the models for others, these people, but 80%, 70% people, those who even make profits on edible items by adulterating edible items of food, they make profit and they share their profits with the politicians and all that. Or the voters who vote at the times of elections, not thinking of the merits of the candidates they have to choose from, but simply because a certain candidate belongs to the community of the majority of the people, or you belong to the community of the candidate and you vote for that. And this is undemocratic and this is uneducated behavior. Only those people should be elected who have humanitarian values at heart, those who believe in honest work, those who join politics not for the sake of making money, but for the sake of enhancing the standards of life of the people, particularly the poor people. But simply because people are poor, people are downtrodden, so-called, they should not be given a license to loot the properties of others. All human beings have a right to work hard and to improve their economic condition, their financial condition. And if people are really poor, they don't have resources, then the government or the government has to provide them with the infrastructure, provide them loans and all that. But see to it that no one violates the laws, no one goes against the interests of others, no one goes against nature, no one indulges in shady dealings and becomes rich overnight by hoodwinking others or deceiving others or injuring the interests of others. So whether it is a day of paying tribute or homage to an army general or a day to pay homage to a politician who had been, or anyone, I think as we should move forward to having celebrations for the unknown people also, who have been honest people, who have been honest farmers, honest traders, honest business people, honest industrialists. And so there has to be some sort of celebration, if not the whole day to be devoted to that. This act can be done by appreciating them, by allowing people to write about them, speak about them, so that people in general, they get this kind of climate, this kind of weather, this kind of culture, that goodness is appreciated, badness is deprecated, goodness is to be loved or should be loved, and badness has to be hated. Okay, it is an euphemism to say that don't hate, but yes, dirt has to be hated. If we hate dirt, we don't make dirt. We don't cause dirt to spread. We don't breed dirt. Because so hate is a word we shouldn't hate, but we should hate negativity. We should love positivity. We should hate those criminals who are habitual ones and compulsive ones, and no punishment, no persuasion happens to deter them from being stuck to the world of crimes. I therefore would appeal to the world leaders or the special invitees at today's gathering, or today, maybe not only one, all over the world. We may have hundreds of events organized to speak about the great people of the past for 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours, but only speaking and not following the spirit of the speeches made or the promises made, that won't be of any interest. Take, for example, you talk about a good doctor, and you pay homage to a good doctor who fought, you can say, cancer disease by inventing appliances or researching and all that. But you allow cigarette manufacture of different kinds. What is the significance of paying homage to a doctor who devotes his life to treating the patients of cancer, lung cancer, or all that? Because you allow manufacture of cigarettes, you allow bullets to be manufactured, you allow guns to be manufactured in shady places, and you don't apprehend the criminals. You know where these gun factories, illegal gun factories exist, where people are making guns and they sell them in the black market to the criminals. They sell, and crimes are committed, innocent people are killed. You allow them, and then one day you speak about a brave police officer having sacrificed his life in an encounter with the criminals. No use. It doesn't have any sense, because criminals are criminals, antisocials are antisocials. They should be given opportunities to reform themselves, to come to the level playing field. They should be allowed to reform, to get improved, to realize their mistakes. But if you allow criminals to go unchecked, if you allow smugglers to go unchecked, if you allow politicians having no sense of equality, no sense of fairness, no sense of justice, you allow them to win the elections because you belong to their communities and castes and religion and all that, is no good. So paying homage to any good person means defending the values that he stood for. If he became great because of the defense of certain values, because of certain principles that he held dear to himself, and he worked very hard to sustain those principles and to promote those principles in others as well, then and that is meaningful. Uh, at all levels, I would again appeal to the world people, the whole world's people, including the leaders. Leaders come and go, people remain. That goodness recognize, appreciate, incentivize, approve. Badness frown upon, negate in persuasive ways. But if that doesn't work, then you have to deal with the negatives, with the criminals, iron-handed. You can't have a carrot and a stick that you punish for some time and then again you release. Many crimes are committed by criminals, and when the cases start out getting unfolded or things come out from the background, then you see that somebody was bailed out, somebody was allowed to run away, somebody was allowed to hide, and then during the hiding, he committed 5 more murders. And he was allowed to function in society because he was bailed out, he was released, he was discharged, and then again he went on committing crime. These things happening raise question marks on the judiciary, that a judge who decides a case in favor of a criminal must verify it so many times whether that decision to release the criminal going to be good, or if you release on technical grounds that you don't have sufficient proof and you have not studied the case personally, you have not been to the roots to the case, and you make judgments like this, you release the criminals, you bail them out, or you discharge them, and that is the same on the judicial system, and that is the same on the integrity of the judicial officers. So, in all walks of life, there has to be transparency. There has to be good news for the good people and bad news for the bad people, in the sense that badness cannot lead you to a normal life. You're having a criminal, suppose you can say, pursuit is not going to pay you off. You have to behave as a human being, a normal human being. And again, I say that all people can't be equally honest, all people can't be highly capable, but then there has to be this message given to all the people, all societies, that positivity is recognized, rewarded, goodness is rewarded, honesty is rewarded, hard work is rewarded, and laziness is not appreciated, not liked. Criminal activities are not to be tolerated. Dishonesty is it's a blood stain, and scientific temperament is a good thing. All human beings have to be treated according to their merits, according to their qualities. Higher the qualities, better the results. You take part in an Olympian, suppose you can say, event, and you are the best, you get the gold medal. Those who don't get, they don't have any complaints, because they know that the one who has got the gold medal, he was the best sprinter, or the best javelin thrower, or the best football team, whatever. So, positivity to be recognized, negativity to be discouraged, goodness to be encouraged, incentivized, and badness to be corrected, and finally, if correction, persuasion doesn't help, then justice that is the deserving one has to be administered. Only then any nation, any society, any part of the world, or the world as a whole uh, can benefit. And we human beings, wherever we live, we will have a kind of fright on us that we have to go out of this world, but we have lived at least a normal life. We have disturbed the world in the list. We have damaged the world in the list. We have damaged nature in the list. They say that violence and non-violence. Those people who eat flesh and all that, animals, so animals are slaughtered because of that. But then the violence at some level, when we pluck the leaves out of a plant to make vegetable out of those leaves, then that's a kind of violence. The plant feels the impact of the plucking of its constituents, but then that is unavoidable. We breathe in, and with the suppose air that we breathe in, maybe bacteria and all, suppose you can say insects even get inside that we don't see. We can't help it. When we walk, many ants are killed under our feet. Many things get crushed. We can't help it, because we can't walk any length if we are conscious about every millimeter of the surface under our foot. It's not possible. But then killing a man, killing a dog, killing an animal, killing a bird, harming somebody, molesting a woman, or kidnapping a child, or cheating a person in one way or the other, looting banks. All these things are making weapons and selling the weapons to have riches overnight. All the activities are bad. So whenever we have an occasion to pay homage to a great man, we have to see to it, particularly those who are in power, that justice is done. And justice is done not only, but justice is done, and it is seen to have been done. If an justice is seen to have been done, and it is genuinely seen to have been done, then that has an impact, very positive impact on our life. So whenever there is an occasion to pay homage, all of us have to see that the good, the honest, the men and women of integrity, they are encouraged, appreciated, so that others who are not like that, they also feel that there is no way out. We only have get love and appreciation. We only live as nice human beings if we have positivity promoted within us, cultivated within us, and practiced in our behavior, in our actions, and all that. So thanks a lot. You please, YouTube, if you are capable, please bring my words to the public, because I'm not any good at using this computer. I don't want, because one day I will speak on the misuse of electronic gadgets, that how negative things are there, how many, they are very attractive, very tempting, particularly pornographic, suppose you can say, sites and waves and all that, and how teenagers and young people, hardworking people, they become lazy because these things are very attractive, and human beings are made of blood and flesh, and it is very difficult even for an averagely good person to resist the temptations of nakedness, naked pictures, and all that. So I also appeal, taking this occasion of paying homage to great general, this Lachit Barphukan, one of the generals of India, that let internet, let laptops and mobiles be free from bad things. Bad things means the things that we get obsessed with, sexuality, pornography, and all that. See how many different crimes are being committed. Living relationship was highlighted, it was praised some 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and people had seminars and symposia. That was in modern world. People have to work outside. They have to travel a lot. So what is wrong in having living relationship? You don't have to face trouble. You live together. You live happily. But see, living relationships have become so dangerous. You live with a person 6 months, and then you have attraction to another person. You get attracted to another living partner, and you, in order to have another living partner, you kill this one. If you are a woman, you get killed. It is exceptionally that a woman living partner gets killed, the male living partner. So how shameful it is. People who are business people, those who sell all these, many a time it has been seen that a filmmaker, a film producer, director, a rich industrialist happens to make films, what they call sexually attractive films, or what they call blue films and all that, and they sell and they make millions and millions within a few days. But society gets rot, society gets decayed, and our young people, or all age people, even old people, get attracted to such sites, and they spend some time, and then they become criminal-minded. A 70-year-old person happens to, you can say, rape a child of 5 or 3. It is all the impact of this liberty given to all kinds of people. Sophisticated tools and gadgets have to be given to people, all people, but then these have to be regulated, and bad sites, or you can say, and debilitating sites, or weakening sites, or demoralizing sites, depraving sites, should not be allowed to function, to remain in operation. That's all. God bless us all. Ma Malik bless us. Let their lordships always bless us to have good ideas, good work, and let us have a sense of self-discipline, collective self-discipline, morality, because without that, okay, you enjoy your life 5 years, 10 years, then you come into hell. You see families are getting split, divorces are rising, brothers are killing brothers, business rivalry is getting so ugly, politicians are killing politicians. Everywhere you have rays increasing and calm getting down, knowledge of devilishness increasing, but wisdom getting down every passing day. All these things are the things of concern for good people everywhere in the world. So please, YouTube, if you can, please let my speech be heard by people, good people. Who knows? Some people get positively influenced, and they find my voice akin to their own voices, and then they extend these voices to other people, and that way things can be better, or things at least can be expected to be better. All right. God bless us all. Bye bye.